My name is DJ Infantry, and I am legally blind. My passion for the outdoors has taken me to some amazing places, and I have done some incredible things, all with one mission in mind: to inspire you to get outdoors. Welcome to Infantry Outdoors. Hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of Infantry Outdoors. Yours truly, your favorite disabled DJ. I'm the Infantry, back at it again, welcoming you to today's program, and I hope that wherever you are around the world, you're having an amazing day. Today we're going to get into a really fun project using things that we would normally throw away. If you haven't checked out last week's video, I'll put it on the card right here. Go ahead, check it out. Press pause, come back, and we'll pick up right from here. I'll wait for you, go ahead. Great, now that you did that, you're all caught up, you watched last week's videos. We got a big bag of corn cobs that we're going to turn into corn cob jelly. Quick, easy process. Something that I really never heard of until this. So it's a great way to take your spent corn, if you can corn like we do, to use your products up to the fullest and get the maximum amount out that you can. So today I have 12 ears of corn. That's what our recipe is going to call for. We're going to use 2 quarts of water, filtered water, and 4 cups of sugar, along with 1 box of jelly pectin mix. So that's what we're going to do. Let's dive right in and get started. And if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, as always, please feel free to write to us at infantryoutdoors.com or drop it in the comments below. So what I do is I break these up as small as I can, just to get more surface area, because basically what we're going to do is extract the corn into the juice and use the corn juice to make our jelly. We're also going to be water bath canning today, so if you guys don't know how to do that, we're going to show you. I have the jars getting ready right now as we speak. They're on the stove getting nice and hot. Now, I did do a batch of this the other day with some other corn cobs that we had, and I got to say that if you use white corn, you'll be able to make the jelly. It just won't be yellow. It'll be more of a clear color. So this time we're actually using, as you can see, the corn cobs are yellow. This is from yellow corn. I'm just breaking it into pieces. Got our corn broken up into pieces. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 quarts of filtered water. All right, so we've got quart number 1. And if you guys don't have a water filter system or water filter at all, check out our proud sponsor, Water Purification Products, down below. They'll be able to hook you up. They got all kinds of stuff like this filter we're using right here. Really great product. But yeah, you need 2 quarts of filtered water, especially where I live, because we're on a well. Our water is on the hard side, so we want to run it through a filter to get the best water we can. In goes our 2nd quart of water. Make sure we got all the corn in there, everybody's covered. All right, so I'll see you at the stove. All right, we're over at the stove. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this sucker a boiling. First, we're gonna get it to a hard boil, then we're going to back it down to a low boil or simmer, and we're going to let it sit for 30 minutes. So that's going to be the next step, is just sitting, waiting, and watching for water to boil. Stay tuned. All right, we've reached a hard boil, as you guys can see. Now we're going to turn this down to a low boil. Let it sit and simmer for at least a half an hour. So we'll come back and pick this up in about 30 minutes. And while this boils, guys, if you are enjoying this video and you're taking something away from her, please consider giving us a thumbs up on the video. It really does help YouTube to get our content out to other people. As well as if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do. Ring the notification bell so that you're notified every Wednesday when we upload and every Friday when we live stream. Also, if you really do take something from this video, YouTube has offered a brand new feature called Super Thanks. If you'd like to leave a super thanks down below, it does help the program out by helping to keep us going here on YouTube. So thank you in advance if you super thanks us, and all of our super thanks, advertisers, sponsors, and donations are always recognized in all of our upcoming programs and live streams. So thank you in advance from all of us here at Infantry Outdoors. All right, it's been half an hour. I'm gonna turn that off. Gonna take out our kern. It's done its work. So one thing I'm going to tell you straight away, from the batch I did the other day with the, as I mentioned before, the white corn, this definitely has a yellow color to it versus the one I did earlier didn't, because of obviously it was a white corn. Still had the corn taste, the sweetness and everything else, but it just wasn't yellow. And I'll show you at the end of the video the comparison once we're done. But once you get your corn all out of here, the next thing that we're going to do is, I do have my jars. They've been cooking or sitting in hot water the entire time. That's what you want. You want your jars hot, ready to go, because this next part is going to go fairly quickly. The next thing we're going to do is, we've already turned the heat off. We've taken the corn cobs out. We're going to strain this liquid. You can either use a fine strainer, cheesecloth, things like that. I'm going to use a strainer in a bowl. We're going to strain out this liquid, and I'll show you what comes after that. So take our liquid, got a strainer, got a bowl, and pour our liquid into here. Okay, lift up our strainer, get all that stuff out of there. Y'all can see that. We don't want that in there. We're done with that. All right, so all we're left with is this juice. Like I said, this juice is way yellow or tinted yellow versus the batch I did before. So I'm anticipating a nice golden turnout on this. So the next thing that we're going to do is, we're going to ladle out 3 cups, because that's all we're going to use for this. Now you could make multiple batches with this, which I still may. Now that I have this in this state, I can still go ahead and make more out of it. So the next thing that we're going to do is take this, we're going to measure out 3 cups, and we'll get that into our pan and back onto the stove for the next step. Taking our 3 cups, putting it in our pan, turning the heat up. And we want to bring this to a boil. Because the next thing that we're going to add is going to be 1 box of Pectin, Sure Gel, whatever you want to call it, whatever you choose to use. I'm using Sure Gel, Pectin. We're going to use 1 bag for this recipe. Now, as this is heating up on the stove, we're going to add in our 1 pack of Sure Gel as we stir this, because we want this to break down as much as possible. Okay, we reached our boil, so we're going to start pouring in some sugar, stirring it in. this part you're going to keep stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring. And we want to get it to back to a hard boil, and we're going to let it hard boil as we stir constantly for 10 minutes. Alright, 10 minutes is up. Pro tip for you guys to keep the foam down, which I forgot to do in the beginning, is add a little bit of butter to it. That'll help keep the foam from overflowing like what happened here. And just make sure that you stir the entire time, but we're going to go ahead and turn the heat off. And the next part is going to go kind of quickly, so we're going to remove this from the heat. And we're getting ready to can, so I'll see you back over at the counter. So now the last thing that we have to do is jar up our jelly. These are fresh out of the hot water. And with jellies, you want to work kind of quickly because the longer it cools, the more that it sets. And the harder it is to work with. Today we're making pint jars. I've got the lids soaking in hot water. And our water bath canner is ready to go. And we're going to leave 1-inch head space on each jar. Okay, so the next step, we've got everything in the jars, is probably the most important part of all. When canning, is making sure that your rims, that your jars, and everything is clean. So I've got a rag, I just sprayed with some vinegar, and I'm gonna go around, oh that's hot, the lips of all these jars to make sure there's no sticky, no nothing on the lips that can cause the seal to not seal. So quickly we're gonna go around. And remember that these jars were also boiled probably for over a half hour, so they're definitely sterilized. Okay, next thing is put our lids on. And again, I'll have a link to all of these products for you guys down below. These have been sitting in super hot water for the duration of while we've been jarring. Okay. Now, next thing we want to do is put our bands on. One of the most biggest common mistakes people do is they put the bands on too tight. So, show you how to do it. Just take it, don't touch the jar, spin, 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 and that's tight enough. You want to leave it to where it's loose enough for the air to escape when you're canning, but not loose enough where when we put it in there, water gushes into the jar. Okay, so we have 4 pints. We're going to put them back into the water bath canner. You're going to make sure that you have at least 1 inch of cover over top of whatever you're canning when you water bath canning. Now for this, you're going to water bath can it for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you're good to go. Take it out, let it cool down, which we'll do here in a minute. Now, a pro tip for you guys, if you've ever canned and you notice that your jars come out with a white haze on it, that's usually because you have hard water where you live. One of the tricks to getting around that is adding vinegar to your water before you start the process, and the vinegar will actually lower the acidity level in the water, giving you clean jars. So, pro tip for you guys, let's go back to the stove. Now that I've got it filled with plenty of room above the jars are going to sit, kick it back on high, put our lid on. Once we get this to a rolling boil, we're going to turn it down so there's not such a heavy rolling boil, but we're then going to start our 15-minute timer let it sit, let it boil for 15 minutes, and we'll be back to you guys at that time so we can start to see. And again, remember at the end, I'm going to show you the difference between the white corn and the yellow corn and how the jellies turned out. So hope you stick and stay with us to the end. Here's a question for you guys. What jams, jellies, and things do you like to make? Do you make it from scratches, from things that are left over like we've done with the corn? Drop it in the comments below, or always feel free to write to me at infantryoutdoors.com. We'll see you back here when this is all done.
This episode of Infantry Outdoors is sponsored in part by Silver Connections Group, full digital marketing agency. Check them out today at silverconnectionsmobile.com. Water purification products, pure water at your fingertips. Service, installation, fully licensed and bonded. Check them out today at waterpurificationproducts.com. Mayhem Studios. Add mayhem to your media with the best in the business. Contact them at mayhemstudios@yahoo.com. And by generous donations from viewers like you.
Welcome back, everybody, and there you have it. 4 pints of corn cob jelly made from something we would have just thrown away. Now, this isn't something I've done regularly. This is actually something I recently learned about and decided to share it with you guys. It is a great way to take something like corn cobs that you would normally throw away or feed to your animals and use them one more time before you discard it. Now, this is going to be great on biscuits. This is going to be great on cornbread. It has a honey type taste to it. So I encourage you, give it a try. As you've seen, it's easy to do, simple recipe, does not take long. Now, it does make quite a mess as you go along, and especially if you get the jelly on anything, it's sticky, so you know, just keep that in mind. But one thing that I did want to show you guys is this is the color of the jar that we made today. You can see how yellow it is, right? Well, this is the jar that I was telling you about earlier that I made with white corn. And you can tell it's a little bit less yellow than this one. So same taste, same everything else, it's just not as yellow. Now, some folks on recipes that I've seen, they add yellow food coloring to this. You can do that as well if you want to really get it a gold color, but I think this looks pretty good the way that it is. All natural, no ingredients, none of that. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and you're not subscribed, please consider hitting the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you're notified every Wednesday when we put out a new video and every Friday when we upload. And if you've taken something away from this video and it helped you out in some way, consider helping us out by giving us a super thanks. The button is down below. Any comments, questions, or concerns, guys, always write to me at infantryoutdoors.com. And other than that, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I hope that this and all of my adventures inspires you to get outdoors. Until we meet again, have an amazing day, everybody.